Anin, Ozu, Tensi. Hello, good evening. My name is Patty. My spirit name is Changing Moon. My other spirit name is Thunder Bear. I actually have three. The other is Eagle Ascending. I am a hereditary chief of the Crane Clan of Ojibways. And I would like to say that I've received quite a few videos to watch today, especially more so this evening and throughout the day. I don't really have time to watch a lot of these videos. I will sometimes go back and watch a live video that has been broadcast, but I specifically want to bring to the attention with regards to the count at the farm. I myself had tried to assist under the authority of the Crane Clan, who governs the territories, using my Confederacy wampum belt, along with my Silver Chain Covenant wampum belt. That was my grandfather's, my great-grandfather, Grand Chief Gagiosh of the Crane Clan of Ojibways. The Crane actually has jurisdiction and over legal issues across the territories. We can assert those rights on native land. The farm is located on unceded territory. The documents were sent to the farm, but unfortunately they went another route that ruined what could have been a good thing to get that count done. So I will say I'm very disappointed, very appalled and disgusted at the treatment that a real Anishinaabe person has received by the disrespect of somebody that was trying to assist to get a count lawfully. We gave specific instructions under Native law on the process. There shouldn't have been an issue to have the ostriches counted. Now, another thing I will say is Jeff, Godfrey, I believe his name is, or Gaudi or something like that. Pardon me if I had the name wrong. I just briefly watched that, and I watched part of Lucas' video. I'm going to explain a little bit about the appeal process. I'm in the Court of Appeal myself right now, and I'm very familiar with the legal aspects, the legal terms, the legal processes. What's happened is the farm has sought leave to appeal the decision of the CFIA. The CFIA has the opportunity to submit their documentation, so does the farm. The farm can then turn around, and if there's any discrepancies, then they have the opportunity to bring any kind of motions. They got the motion for the stay. It's unfortunate that there are other motions that could have been done, but they did not do so. I have not seen any other motions. They could have fought the warrant even. To my knowledge, they have not done that. So, in all honesty, I'll explain. When they appeal the decision, the first thing they have to do is go to the court, the Supreme Court, and request from the court the permission of the court to appeal the CFIA decision. Once they do their documentations, they serve and file it, and then the CFIA can respond to it. Once that happens, and all the documentations, along with their factums, their book of authorities, their arguments, their legal arguments, are applied, then the registrar will give a date. The Supreme Court will receive those documentations once the registrar gives a date. That is only leave to appeal. That's the first step. The second step would be that the panel of judges, once a date is given, will read through those documentations. Once those documentations are read through, they will decide whether leave will be granted to go on to the next level. Once that happens, then if leave is granted, then the applicants, the farm, would have to give notice to CFIA to state that the appeal is proceeding. If the panel decides there is no legal arguments for the appeal to proceed, they'll dismiss it. So if you expect a decision within the next day or two, I've called the court myself. They said it could take up to 2 months. The courts are so backlogged right now. So you're not going to get a decision immediately, first off. Second thing is, excuse me, if the farm is serious about having a count of the farm, ostriches at the farm, they could have done so at the direction of the crane. They didn't. But there's another legal aspect that they can do. They are a business. First off, I will say there's a legal argument in the court order. The court order states that CFIA has custody. Custody is a different thing. They don't have ownership of the ostriches. Who has ownership of the ostriches? The farm. So a legal point that I will make is that the farm, because they're a business operation, they have to keep books and records. They should have known the count of the ostriches because they have to when they do their taxes. If they're a corporation, they do a corporate tax. I'm also an accountant, so I know the process. Once they get a count of their ostriches, if any pass away, they have to log all that. They have to keep specific book and records. Those books and records account for how many ostriches they have. So if there's a newborn ostrich, they would log that in their book. So the legal point I'm trying to argue here is if they really want to count, they can use the CRA, the act, because they're operating a business, and for tax purposes, they are obligated under law to file a tax return. And on that tax return, they have to state their business income and their business losses. So the legal issue is they need a count of the ostriches for tax purposes. So depending on if they are have the calendar year, what date their calendar year ends, they need a specific count. Irregardless, if they want the count, their lawyers should know all this. And I hope that the ostriches, I don't want to see them harmed. They're part of our totem. In a nation-to-nation relationship internationally, those animals are part of our totem clan. I don't want to see them hurt or harmed. But if the farm really had any respect, they would have went with my direction. But unfortunately, they felt two fraud persons that have serious criminal charges against them try to go to the liaison officer when those two people had no jurisdiction. They have none. There is no Noah Ark Treaty. And besides, Noah Ark is water. They cannot even make a treaty themselves. They have to approach the crane to make any treaty. Any modern day treaty is not legally binding. And you cannot make a treaty with a corporation. A corporation is an entity. They're not a person. So that treaty that they're trying to tell you and mislead you is misrepresentative. It's not legally binding. It's fraud. Man, oh man. They've insulted our culture. They've insulted our First Nations people, our Anishinaabe, the real Anishinaabe people. And they've highly, highly disrespected and disregarded a hereditary chief. I have full status. I'm also Native American. I have my Jay Treaty. And Greg had the balls and the nerve to say, I'm not who I say I am. I am who I say I am. Greg's not who he says he is. And Schipperko She spoke in her native tongue to the Pope. You people are misled by the typings in English, because we know what she said. It's not what you think. Do your research. Miigwech Bamapi.